What's up, everybody? Sean the D-Man here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys are doing, having yourselves a great week. We are here for a little extra video because earlier, the SEC, we knew this was coming because it leaked, I believe, on Sunday. No, maybe actually no, I think it leaked on Monday that obviously we know the SEC is going to a nine-game conference schedule. Um, Everybody's trying to figure out what the rotation looks like, what yada yada yada, all that. So Monday, I believe it was Chris Lowe who did it. You know, wrote about the upcoming opponents and everything for the SEC teams. So there was a graphic everybody saw it up to this point that showed each team in the conference and who their three uh, opponents are, and it'll rotate every 4 years. At least the third one will rotate every 3 years, I believe. So for Auburn, they had obviously Georgia, Alabama, and so they're going to get Vanderbilt as their third kind of not their third annual rival for these next 4 years, and then after that they'll swap out Vanderbilt for somebody else, so on and so forth. So alongside that, yesterday, Tuesday night, or I guess tonight, Tuesday night, depending on when you're watching this, um, we got the release of who the SEC teams are going to be playing for the 2026, 2027, 2028, and 2029 season. So obviously we're going to focus on the Auburn Tigers, because you also have to remember as well when it comes to the SEC is that they have to play a Power Four opponent or Notre Dame each of these seasons. Now Auburn obviously is going to have Baylor coming to Jordan-Hare Stadium next year for the 2023 season. I believe that's going to be the first game for Auburn for 2026. And then you're going to have like two cupcakes after that, obviously. So 2027, 2028, Auburn doesn't have a Power Four opponent set up just yet. But I believe in 2029 and 2030, they're going to do a home and home with Miami. So, depending on who they pick, so it's probably going to be another home and home for 2027 and 2028. I would assume that will get decided by the end of the year, because either in November or December we're going to get the actual schedule for each SEC team, the dates of when these teams are going to play. So a lot going on, and Auburn's is definitely the more interesting one. So let's jump into it. So 2026, Auburn has Arkansas, Florida, LSU, Vanderbilt, and then obviously Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. 2026 is definitely brutal because now you do technically Auburn's gonna have 5 road games. Um, so that's gonna be tough. 2026 is gonna be a tough season, especially with you playing LSU, Florida, and Tennessee, Ole Miss, Mississippi State looks to be good. So it is like I don't think anybody got it easy in regards to the schedule. I think everybody got a pretty tough draw in that regards. Now again, we don't know the dates. I wonder. Can I see? Let me see if I can pull up. So I don't know who. Six. Let me see. So 2026, along with the SEC, I mentioned Baylor, but they're also going to have, yeah. So Baylor is going to be the first game to kick off the 2026 season, just kind of like how it was in Waco this season. But they're also going to be playing Southern Miss and Jacksonville State. So that looks to be Auburn's first 3 games to kick off the 2026 season. Let me see how far we can go. And then 2027 show the only team on the schedule is North Alabama for 2027. 2028 doesn't show me one there. And then 2029 you go to Miami. And so 2026, yeah, you're gonna open the season with Baylor, and then after that you'll have your two cupcakes, and then you're jumping right into SEC play because you're no longer gonna have three cupcakes with them going to nine conference conference games. You're gonna have your two plus your Power Four, and then it is off to the races. So, man, like I would have liked for 2026 if North Alabama or Jacksonville State, one of those two, were the first game, kind of like how it was last no Brian Harson's second year. Oh no, I'm sorry, not Brian. No, it was last year. I am thinking of last year. How we had a cupcake game as the season kickoff, and then Cal came in week two. I kind of will have liked that, where we had a cupcake in week one and then Baylor in week two. Obviously, that does not seem it's not going to be the case. So, whatever this 2026 version of the Auburn Tigers uh, football team is going to look like it could be interesting because if you think about it, like number one, you are more than likely are going to have to replace an entire offensive line. We don't know if anybody's going to enter the portal, that kind of stuff, and there's so many things that go into this that could make 2026 even more, of a headache for whoever Hugh Freeze or whoever the coach might be. So, it's definitely going to be interesting. I don't know which one I will travel to because I would actually Knoxville would probably going to Tennessee. That one is not much of a drive. It's like a three hour drive for me, I think. Um, Ole Miss would be pretty fun to go to, I think. So 2026 is quite interesting. So 2027, obviously you got Georgia, Alabama, you get Oklahoma, you get South Carolina, you get Texas A&M, Kentucky, Missouri, Texas, and Vanderbilt. So whereas in 2026, you'll have, five road games. 2027, you're going to have five home games, including the cupcakes, and depending on what the Power Four schedule looks like in regards to who you put for the 2027 and 2028 seasons. So you could probably say 2027 is also difficult. I mean, you got Alabama, you got Georgia, and again with Alabama and Georgia, you're doing the same thing. Uh it's not switched where you have one at home and then one on the road. No, you're gonna have them both at home. You're gonna have Oklahoma, South Carolina, Texas A&M. Really, out of your road games though of that 2027 season, Texas would be the toughest one overall. I think that kind of benefits you a good bit. Um, Now again, we don't know who the Power Four opponent's going to be, so I wonder who Auburn will schedule. I assume we will hear about it by the time the actual schedule release comes out later this year. But 2027 um, could be if could be interesting, depending on how you finish 2025 out and how you do with 2026. Because you would think, we're just purely speculating and talking here, your 2027 quarterback should be Deuce Knight. Now, we don't know about 2026 or anything like that. I would be quite honest, like Jackson could come back another year. I would be quite honest. I would listen. Obviously, Deuce is going to want to play. I can understand that and I can get that. But I would be trying to. This is just personally me trying to see if Deuce, keep him happy, do what we can to keep him happy, and he takes over in 2027. Because that way you have Jackson, who is a veteran quarterback. Maybe he'll grow a little bit more. for the 2026 season to help you navigate that schedule, because 2026 is pretty brutal, if we're being quite honest. Um, you could have an experienced quarterback like Jackson for the 2026 season, and then Deuce will have, 2027, 2028, 2029, that kind of thing. So I'm going to be curious to see it, like, obviously down the line, what that looks like. 2028, we got Mississippi State at home, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Vanderbilt at home, and then you're on the road at Alabama, Georgia, Florida, LSU. So you're having to travel to, you not only have to travel to Alabama and Georgia, you have to travel to Death Valley and the Swamp as well. That's a headache right there. That is a annoying schedule for 2028. Like, it is just insane. And then lastly, 2029, you get Kentucky, Missouri, Texas, Georgia, Alabama. So you do kind of have to wait at least to, like, 3 years before you can get, no, not 3. Yeah, I guess 3 years, because before you get Texas and Jordan Hare Stadium. But again, your road game's not that bad, because, I mean, will Shane Beamer still be at South Carolina? Will Clark Lee still be at Vanderbilt? Will Brenton Venable still be at Oklahoma? Mike Elko at Texas A&M likewise. You don't know what Kentucky and Missouri look like. So there's a lot that can change in regards to, like, these next couple of years when it comes to this schedule. Like, what does Auburn's roster looks like? Will Hugh Freeze still be the head coach, the quarterback? There's a lot of things that we don't know that we're just gonna have to roll with. And something I've thought about as well. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Come back. Is, does this, because obviously with this kind of schedule, number one, the playoff is probably going to expand to 16 teams, but does this change, like, the expectations, not just for Auburn, but for all the teams in the SEC in general? Because this is a brutal schedule, and then again, Power 4 opponent or Notre Dame you've got to play. So you're like, I think rosters are going to have to be, you got to make sure you have your roster ready to go and intact, because it's going to be a gauntlet. It is going to be a gauntlet for sure. But yeah, it looks brutal, but it is what it is. I think, I honestly, we'll have to just wait and see. So like I said, we should get the full schedule later this year, like November, December, I think it is. And then we'll have to just see what happens with the rest of the season, and what the roster even looks like. So, but that is it, guys. Want to do a quick little video just talking about this particular schedule release, or at least the opponents announced for the SEC teams throughout the next 4 years. So be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, comment below. Tell me what you think about it. Which year looks the easiest? Which year looks the most toughest? Very much want to hear your thoughts on it. But guys, thank you again for hanging out. Thank you for watching. I'll be back on Thursday with our Texas A&M preview for the upcoming game on I think it's on ABC this Saturday, 2:30 kickoff. So I'll be back for that. Guys, thank you again. Have a great night, and I will see you in the next one.